Hey guys, Greg here. Special edition of the Vinyl Rundown. Want to talk to you about a concert review edition. There'll be some tie-ins to some vinyl records, but last night I saw a concert by Christian McBride's big band in Los Angeles, and this was kind of a last-minute thing. Hadn't really planned to go, but we found some tickets low cost, last minute, and let me tell you about the theater, because it's an amazing new venue in Los Angeles called the Soraya, which is on the campus of Cal State Northridge, where I went to school many, many years ago, and they just built this unbelievably beautiful $100+ million venue, all glass and fancy architecture, and the lady who gave the name, her first name is Soraya, and her husband Nazarian. So thank you to them. We now have a world-class facility for live music here in the San Fernando Valley. I've seen a handful of groups there. Can't think of them right now, but the Bat Plus, Robert Glasper, probably others I can't think of. Brad Mehldau. Jazz, classical, kind of one of those fine artsy type places, closely associated with the school, Cal State Northridge. Anyway, let me get into the concert. Here's the program if you don't know who Christian McBride is. One of the top jazz bass players. And this is his big band. I'm more familiar with his combo music, different combos he's played in. I really didn't know what to expect with this concert, and I figured, okay, the tickets are like $20, so my son and I will both go. We both played in big bands when we were in high school, so a couple of band geeks. I was expecting kind of, okay, this might be old-fashioned big band music and Count Basie and that type of stuff, which is cool, but I mean, I played those tunes a zillion times. Very pleasantly surprised with everything that I saw last night, and some real surprises and special treats. So let me just go through kind of the show with a couple highlights in semi-chronological order from my little notepad here. They introduce the band, musicians come out minus Christian and start vamping a little bit, and somebody comes out and picks up the bass, and it's this skinny little white kid. Well, Christian McBride is a large, bald, black guy. We're like, who's that guy? Who's this kid? No idea. And then Christian comes out, applause. He takes the bass away from the kid, kind of mid-phrase, like the music didn't stop. Kid walks away. We never see who that kid was until the very end of the show. He brings him out and says that Christian did a master class with the kids at the music school there. So Cal State Northridge has a world-class, one of the very best studio jazz departments. So those kids were very lucky to spend a day with Christian McBride, and the bass player, I assume he's from the A band, came out and did this thing with Christian. So that must have been a super thrill. Shout out to a kid named Sean Reznicki. He had his early fame, his 15 minutes. Hope they're not up yet. So let me get into some of the music, and I'll tie that in with some records that I have. This music might not be as sort of innovative and forward-thinking as what a lot of you vinyl collectors are typically listening to in the world of jazz. You're all, you got collecting your Coltrane and your Blue Note and your Miles Davis. Christian's music, his whole style, I would call reverential. I made that up. Reverential jazz. Is that a thing? Meaning he spends a lot of time paying homage to musicians who came before him, and he does a lot of talking between sets, and he really drops like a lot of names of people that he's either been influenced by or played with or met. And so there's this real love of the sort of history of jazz going back decades that he really puts into his music and talks about quite a bit. Some of the names that he mentioned, there's a whole thing with Freddie Hubbard that's big to Christian McBride. I'll get into that later. He mentioned one experience where he was sitting backstage with Pat Metheny, Brian Blade, Dave Holland, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, and him all at the same, just hanging out, backstage at a jazz festival. So he's got a lot of experiences like that he talks about. So there were some real surprises here. And at one point he said he was going to do this tribute to one of his most influential people in music, which was a composer-arranger. Not a jazz musician, but a composer-arranger. And he's doing this big build-up about how important this person is. He's like, and he's here in the audience tonight. And we're like, who could it be? Gil Evans died years ago. We have no idea who it is. And believe it or not, Lalo Schifrin was in the audience, which was in his 80s, and he composed Mission Impossible, and he's known for, zillions of soundtracks going back probably from the 60s and 70s. So Christian had composed a song, kind of a tribute to Lalo Schifrin, called Science Fiction, and that was actually one of the highlights of the show. It's a long 15-minute song, goes through a lot of changes, and really you can hear the influence of Lalo Schifrin. It starts with this flute passage. All the sax players put down their sax and played flute. Very signature Lalo Schifrin kind of a tune. And the sax player did an amazing solo on that. I'm trying to look up the sax player's name. Give the guy credit where it's due. Here in the program, they list all the musicians. Gotta give people credit when they deserve it. Why can't I find it? Ron Blake was the main sax player on tenor, but Todd Bashore played really one of the most amazing solos of the night. So good for him. Todd Bashore, I guess he's in there somewhere. Second one? Trust me, he's in there. Okay, so that's the Lalo Schifrin thing. And then he told, later on, he told a story about how he met and played with Freddie Hubbard. And if you've heard Christian McBride in other interviews, he talks about that story, about how he worked really hard to try to get into Freddie Hubbard's band, and he was like this major Freddie Hubbard freak for his whole life, and it was a thrill of his life to play with Freddie Hubbard. So the song that they did was called Thermo, which Freddie Hubbard originally played with Art Blakey, and then it's been re-recorded, various times. That song, wow, that was one of the highlights of the night. Freddie Hubbard, kind of a real classic Art Blakey hard bop tune. Oh, by the way, of course I have it on vinyl. I don't have the Christian McBride version, but I have the original Art Blakey on the album Caravan I want to say 1962, I'm not sure. This is the classic incarnation of the Art Blakey band, because Art Blakey, sort of mentored lots and lots of great young jazz musicians who went on to fame and fortune. So in this band, can you see who's on here? This is the who's who of jazz in the day. Wayne Shorter, Freddie Hubbard, Cedar Walton, Reggie Workman, Curtis Fuller on trombone. And so the song Thermo, go check it out on YouTube or whatever. Maybe have it in one of your records somewhere. Really powerful tune, and the big band version of it even cooler. But this record I pulled out this morning, also has In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. Christian McBride did that tune last night, kind of as his closing ballad. And then the title track, Caravan, which everybody should know by now. Christian McBride did not play that last night, but Caravan was kind of the signature piece in the movie Whiplash, which I hope you all have seen. The big climactic piece at the end, I think, where the kid was doing his own drumming deal. Caravan, which is an old Duke Ellington song that is really a jazz classic, so cool record. I don't have a lot of Christian McBride in my collection. He's been a sideman for a long time. He's played with everybody you can think of in the business. Where's the CD? Here's a record I got a few years ago. Kind of a hip jazz combo. Christian McBride live at the Tonic. I assume it's New York City. Really cool 3-disc set. Kind of funky, kind of hip artwork. And 3-disc set. Each disc is a different color, and there's a little surprise picture under each disc. I won't show you all of them. This is a very live, jammy sort of record. And it's got some special guest stars. The same sax player on here is in the big band, Ron Blake. Special guests include Charlie Hunter, the guitar player, Jason Moran, the piano player, and DJ Logic. He's got Bitches Brew on here, a bunch of long jam songs. So, long form, jammy style. Okay, what else was I going to tell you about the show last night? There's some other special guests. He brought out a female singer 2 or 3 times, Melissa Waters. Kind of an unusual sound for a jazz singer. Big lady, big low voice. Not super feminine, not super kind of sexy, sultry like Diana Krall. But, I mean, good voice. Turns out she is his wife. And I don't think he wanted to make it look like nepotism, so he didn't. He gave her credit as a singer and didn't mention that she was his wife, Melissa Waters. So one of the first songs she sang was A Taste of Honey. You should know that song. It's been recorded by everybody on the planet. And my son recognized it. He goes, "Oh, I know this from the Beatles." And I'm saying, "Oh, you should really know it from Herb Alpert." And she mentioned both of those. Tijuana Brass. Kind of a standard. And then later on she came out and did Mr. Bojangles. And I thought that was a very strange tune for this jazz band to do. I mean, maybe that's a good tune for her voice and everything. Who did the original Mr. Bojangles? Was that Jim Croce? I can't remember. I gotta look that up. So, what else did I want to tell you? Freddie Hubbard tune was a highlight. The Lalo Schifrin was a highlight. Did a bunch of tunes. A lot of them he recognized. A lot of them he wrote himself. At the end, he did this sort of jammy song where everybody kind of gets in and does a lot of soloing. And I was really impressed to see all 3 trombonists get up and kind of trade solos with each other. And my son goes, "Dad, we're in the bone zone now." Okay. Tromboners are not to be laughed at. Who's out there? Somebody's outside my window peeking in on me. I think we're okay, guys. It's just my family. So anyway, the trombone players, I was really impressed. You know, not a huge trombone fan, but one of these guys, Michael Dees, I was really amazed at the speed and the intricacy and the harmonic kind of complexity of what he was doing on trombone. So good for you, tromboners in the Bone Zone. And then lastly, at the end, he said, you know, there's a lot of great people in the audience who came to see me tonight, and Lalo Schifrin, obviously. And then he introduced Don Cheadle, the actor, who's got I guess his Avengers movie's coming out soon. But Don Cheadle, you might not know, is a big jazz fan. He sort of co-wrote and co-produced that Miles Davis movie that just came out. What was it called? Miles Ahead, I guess. Don Cheadle's starring as Miles Davis. I don't think it was a huge commercial success. If you really like Miles Davis, go check that out on Netflix or whatever. It's does not paint Miles Davis in a good light. You know, kind of the rough stuff of Miles Davis's life. Don Cheadle, and then some other people. Anyway, I think that is my review of Christian McBride, big band guys. If you want to know more about him, I made a link in the notes here to the tune Thermo and the tune Science Fiction, and really talented guy. I was very impressed by the show, and that's it tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. Give me your comments, and as much as you love listening to those vinyl records, get out and see some live music once in a while. Great experience. Talk to you guys later.